I'm Greg Shammy,
Hey,
Director of Staff.
Greg.
What am I? Director of Staff Development at the Leadership Program. Hi, Christine. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh my goodness. Countdowns are very exciting. There's something that happens as you're watching that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 go. So thank you for that.
I was
I'd, lo-
ready for the ball to drop. It was more nerve-wracking.
I'd like to welcome everybody, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, whether you're here on this. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Leadership Learning Lab. This is our laboratory where we get to explore all kinds of amazing leadership concepts to help us take our games to the next level. And we actually have a very exciting course coming up May 1st. And today, our goal is to give you a sneak peek into the first session, which is all about building trust by building relationships. So, Christine, are you ready to dig in?
Absolutely, 100%. I also want to just say we have our producer, Tatiana Dominguez, is here. She'll be letting us know if you guys have questions or thoughts that you want to put in any of your chats that you're coming at us today with. We're happy to field those and help you in whatever questions that you have for us. So.
I already see Barbara. Thank you, Barbara, for thanking us. Let's go. We're excited to teach and we're excited to learn because they go hand in hand, in our opinion. So welcome, everybody. All right. So let's look quickly. We always like to have an essential question that kind of focuses us for a session. And so for the building trust piece, it's how do I increase my trust quotient and strengthen my relationships, all while building the performance of my team. And so if I don't have a team yet, we always focus back on ourselves. So a lot of times we call it a player, somebody who is on the field playing, doing the job, and then we get a promotion, and then suddenly we become a manager or a supervisor, and we're overseeing other people. And so we love this concept of moving from player to coach and really digging into that. And trust becomes this essential ingredient. We have Mr. Covey here with a couple of great quotes. Trust is the glue of life. It's the most essential ingredient in communication. It's the foundational principle that holds all relationships. It's the one thing that changes everything. So that we just kind of set the stage with that, right, Christine?
Yep. And one is the trust is the glue of life quote is from Stephen Covey, the senior, and his son has the second quote there, which is trying to simplify the father, right? Isn't that always the way? Just like Greg was saying, when you go from player to coach, you need trust in any team or any place that you work, any relationship that you have. But the kind of trust that got you to be a great individual contributor on a team is only a starting point for the level of trust you need as a leader. And so what we're really going to be using as a foundation for this cohort that we're starting on May 1st is this idea of like, yeah, you have a level of trust that you need right now for your team, and you're going to have to grow. And with that comes a certain kind of emotional intelligence and requires a lot of self-awareness and self-reflection. And so I'll tell you very quickly, Greg, if you'll give me 2 minutes, a story of my trust having to do that is that many years ago, the end of this month, Greg, I'm going to be with this company for 25 years, believe it or not.
Wow, that's amazing.
25 years ago, I started somewhere where I got a promotion into this full-time role that I had. And I thought I was great. I was a great individual contributor. I was picked out of a group to be like, you come run this big project. I went in there thinking I would handle it like I'd handled all other things that I had done, and I would be a superstar and please a ton of people, which would make me and my company very happy. And then what happened is that everywhere I go, people would just, if we were in a meeting, if I had called my first meeting, everyone would shut up. Everyone would be quiet. No one would say anything. I'd be talking, trying to elicit their ideas. Nothing would happen. Behind my back, I'd hear that they were talking about me or talking about each other, sabotaging things. If they worked on something, they wanted to take all the credit. Everywhere I went, I was just like, what is happening here? And I found out from one nice person that worked on that project that was off site, felt like the last person who was there was untrustworthy, it was an us versus them, us from the main office, them out at the site, as a us versus them mentality, and no trust. So they'd keep everything very close to the vest. So I was really upset about with it, thinking, what have I done? Why did I take this job? This is terrible. These people are horrible. And I remember talking to my mom on the phone one time. My mother had been a national sales manager for a big Fortune 500 company. And I was complaining to her. I was like, Mom, I've lost 10 pounds. Like, I'm sick over it. I think I took the wrong job. And she said something very important to me that day that changed my life in terms of how I did something. And she said, Christine, just because you didn't make the mess doesn't mean you don't have to pick up the broom. And I was like, what? And she said, yeah, tough, tough luck, babe. But this is leadership. If you stepped into something, and just because you didn't make that mess, you have to take responsibility and start to become a better leader. Start building back that trust. Be better than you've been in the past. And so I really had to take a pretty introspective look of like, how am I going to grow? How is my trust level going to grow? And how am I going to meet people where they really are and learn a few things along the way? So,
I love that
when
story.
we started doing this with our team, we started doing it with other teams, really starting with trust and then building those foundational skills that are going to make you a better leader of people.
I love that story, Christine. I think it's fantastic because it's usually much bigger than me, right? Like we are in leadership and leadership development, we're always working on putting the arrow back on ourselves. If it's not working, if I point the arrow back to me, what could I do differently, right, to help the situation? And that's really what comes out of that story, is that you walked into this culture and you then had to point back to you and say, hey, what could I do? What happened before I was here? What could I do differently moving forward? I love that. And I think that's essential for this, is that self-reflection, and then being able to continually amplify my productivity. So looking at this, why trust? I mean, it really is the foundational principle, like you were saying, for any kind of effective collaboration, any kind of effective communication, any kind of effective work, right? So here you got team members who said they trusted their team leader were 12 times more likely to be fully engaged at work. Why is engagement important? Well, if I'm engaged, guess what happens? I'm enjoying the journey more. If I'm enjoying the journey more, then my productivity is going up. It's a win-win situation, right? A great article that we reference is the Neuroscience of Trust in HBR, and they did this really great study on it and found these incredible statistics that if trust was really a valued piece in an organization, in a team, that there would be much lower levels of stress. There would be way more energy, higher productivity, fewer sick days, more engagement, more satisfaction. And the one that really resonates for me, because we deal with a lot of burnout, is 40% less burnout. I think that's
Yeah.
a really cool statistic.
Absolutely. And because we're doing this in a mini little workshop, we want to give you a sense of the kinds of things we do on a bigger scale. So one of the things we would do is look at for yourself, give this 30-second challenge. I'm starting the clock right now. So just think about it. If you have paper and pen, start writing. If not, you can do it in your head. If you can, just make 2 columns on the left-hand side. Who do you trust? List as many people as you can. You have 17 seconds left. Name all the people that you trust. And on the right side, who trusts you? And think about it, because it's not always the same. And you might have one side might be bigger than the next. You've got about 5 more seconds left. Greg, are you doing it for yourself?
Yes, I got it here going. I definitely can give some answers if you need me to.
So after you do this, and in our workshop, if you sign up to do our cohort, this will be a longer process. But then what we do is we try to take you through this, of what are the behaviors associated with those high trust people and the behaviors associated with those low trust people. And then we really break you out to talk about that. So people from different companies, without mentioning names, we change the names to protect the guilty, in those low trust behaviors. And then if there are people that are high trust behaviors, what does it look like, so that we can start to go, this is the kind of leader I want to be. This is the kind of leader I don't want to be. So some examples that we often see are what, Greg, on those high trust behaviors that we often see on people's lists?
Yeah, well, on the high trust side, I mean, even just doing this for myself, and thanks, Cynthia, for identifying one of your office mates who exhibits high trust. I love that. And, what are the behaviors? I love getting more specific, Christine. That's so important in my own self development is my specificity and how I can get like zoom in on things. And so
Mm-hmm.
behavior traits are really interesting. For me, the biggest one is somebody who does what they say they're going to do, right? So that concept we've all heard, that person who walks the talk that they're saying. There's something that really gets deposited when somebody follows through on their words, right? Because words are easy, intentions are easy, right? And if you don't match it up with an action, then you get nothing. You get
Right.
nothing, right? So somebody who walks the talk for me is on that really building trust with me.
Yeah, you're also talking about a dependability factor, right? And we talk about that a lot in the workshop in terms of how dependability very important to a team, absolutely integral if you're the leader. And so if you're on a team, it's important to improve your dependability, but if you're the leader, it's a must. And so we talk about some of those tips towards becoming more dependable and making sure people see that. Another example of a trust tip that you would get in this workshop, there's many, many more, but one example is just if you want to improve your trust quotient, like Greg put out in that essential question at the beginning of today, is to improve your clarity. Clarity is kindness, as Brene Brown says, right? Improve being clear about your vision, about goals you have for people, roles and responsibilities, expectations, and report on them and talk about them more often than you think necessary. I'm always surprised as a leader how much I know in my head, but doesn't seem to get out to people as clearly as I've thought about it over and over and over again. I may not say it and talk to them enough. And so one of the things that my staff has taught me, for instance, is that I need to get much better about these things. And once I am, then that improves the confidence they have in me and the confidence they have in the team. And really our competence goes up. And once your competence goes up, it shows that your trust quotient goes up as well.
I love it, Christine. I want to talk so much more about all of this, but
I
we
know.
only have 2 minutes left. And so I just want to give everybody who's here, again, thank you for being here for this little sneak peek into the first session of this course. We're going to be starting May 1st. Sneak peek in here. So what you're going to get in a 90-minute session. Each session is 90 minutes. We're doing it every Wednesday from 2 to 3:30. In this session, we're going to
Eastern time. If
Eastern
you're Eastern time.
EST. Yeah, Eastern time. Thank you for that. Because we have folks joining from all over. In this session, we're gonna do dig deeper into examining these key qualities of high versus low trust leaders. We're going to look at this power of vulnerability and how leaders who are able to really embrace that and that accountability piece can really build trust, and how strong vulnerability can be as a tool in my hat. Deconstructing the equation that Christine mentioned, the trust equation, and really it's these two major components, character and competence. And so breaking those down, doing some self-assessments around those to uncover some strategies for increasing our character and aligning it, strengthening it, and then also increasing or amplifying our competence. And then really finishing with some tangible takeaways and action steps before the next session happens so that we can review, see how you did with what you put out there, and really support each other as
Right.
we
So
move forward.
3 things that you will get at from our workshops that not necessarily everyone else, but they will be live and it will be online and live. We also are going to make sure it's fun. We're going to make sure that you have some very actionable takeaways to go along with your content as well. And that you have a moment for not only learning outside content of what's best practices, but learning from each other in the group and also a real chance for self-reflection. And then finally, here's the schedule so that you can see what's what's happening. This is just the first 15 minutes, not even, this is like just a snippet of what you're going to get in the first section, much less all these other things that are possible. So go secure your spot. There's a link right up there.
If
And
you
we'd
have
love to see you.
any questions, email me, greg@tlpnyc.com, greg@tlpnyc.com. No hesitation to reach out to me at any point.
If you cannot make it May 1st to do this cohort, sign the waiting list so you can get on to the next one. We'd love to have you at next one if we can't get you this one, but we've got a really good group you'd want to be part of. So thank you.
Yay. Thank you, Christine. You're fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for being here, and reach out if you have any questions. Otherwise, we hope to see you May 1st. Bye-bye.